Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be doing another installment of our Christmas break episodes. This time it is Cheat Unfinished Business. I'm actually enjoying this show a little more than I thought I would, but yeah, I mean, we're not gonna do a whole lot. We're gonna be doing, a whole lot on top of the episode. We're going to be, I can't remember how many episodes are in this. I think it's 10, I think, or maybe it's 8. I can't remember. But we're gonna be doing 4 in the first episode and most likely 4 in the next one. Just I can't remember how many episodes there are. So that's what we're gonna be doing. So, because we have a lot to discuss, let's just jump right in. So, episode 1. So I'm not going to have everyone's names in the beginning of episode 1, but we will have everybody's names as we go along. It's actually quite a bit of couples, or you know what I mean, in this. Um, so we meet the host. I didn't catch her name. So it's fine. It's fine. She has blonde hair. It's fine. Some of these people we found out kind of broke up either a few months ago or even as long as years ago. Like there's, I believe, someone who was, they broke up like 2 or 3 years before this. So like, yeah, there's going to be some time between um, the relationship ending and them being here. One guy comes in and he just straight up ignores the woman that he was with, doesn't even say anything to her. Like, at least like some of the men, they come into what we will later know as the reckoning room. Um, and they all kind of say hi and acknowledge them. But this guy just completely ignores her. And I wish I could remember who it was. But one of the white guys. I don't remember. Anyway. So yes, as I mentioned, we are in the reckoning room. I hate that name. I hate that name. There could have been anything else. You could have called it the Reckoning Room. What the hell? Anyways, the Reckoning Room. And this is where we'll be hashing shit out. And we do learn a bit more. We do learn a bit more, I should say, sorry, about the Reckoning Room and the Reckoning Room, and how that will kind of work going from, I guess, I don't know if it's week to week or day to day. So we'll learn a bit more about that as we go. So, our first couple, we have Olivia and Liam. She believes that there was cheating, and she's here because she thinks that there's more that she did not know. And she just wants those answers before she even considers being with this person. He says there's nothing else besides what happened in the first year that they were together. So he does admit that there was infidelity in their first year of their relationship. And if I'm correct on who Olivia and Liam are, this is the couple I believe has been together for a decade or just a little over a decade. They met in high school. So yeah, I mean, potentially something may happen, but not saying it should, but I'm just saying these are kids initially. That's not even at all surprising. But that's their story. Then we have Kieran and Amberly. He says that she said, I'm gonna go fuck my ex. We get a little bit more on this. This one's a little bit more confusing to me because it does appear that there's potential infidelity on both parts. But it's more the timeline for me that I'm very confused by. But she says, but I saw like 3 women at his house, and the host, she asks, like, how did you know that there was 3 women at his house? And she's like, oh, well, I saw them on his ring door camera. See, if you're going to cheat, cheat smart. Say stupid, but hey, it's fine, I guess, right? Then we meet Biggs and Rebecca G. We do have another Rebecca. He says, so I got to say right off the bat, because here's the thing. I think she suspects that there was infidelity, but I don't think she knew for sure. So it's literally in this moment on television that he admits to her, so yeah, I did mess up. So she says, okay, well, can you elaborate, please? Like, what does that mean? Because messing up could be you kiss someone, when you shouldn't have, or you made out with someone when you shouldn't have, or whatever. Or it could be as extreme as, well, I fucked a girl and I shouldn't have. So yeah, can you elaborate on what you mean by I messed up? So he says I cheated towards the end of the relationship. Here's the thing. He's not going to be the only person who says I cheated towards the end of the relationship. I don't believe you. I don't think for a second that these men who are cheating on their women at the end of the relationship weren't potentially cheating in the beginning or in the middle. I don't think like, I just don't believe that because it kind of puts this onus because we're at the end of the relationship that it puts the onus on the woman because maybe she did something that caused me to cheat on her. Like that's what and some of these men are going to say that. So it's so annoying and triggering for me, but like that's just own up to the fact that you did, because I'd rather you just fess up and say you cheated in the entirety of the relationship or for the majority of the relationship than say, oh, I only cheated towards the end. Like, don't even bother. So she says, well, that's a shock. Don't know why that's a shock because, ma'am, you're on a show called Cheat Unfinished Business. So I don't know why you think that's actually a shock. Did you know what show you signed up for? But anyways, she's like, I had you down as a liar, but like, okay, well, cheating is still lying. It's just a different form of lying. So you already had him down as a liar. So let me ask you this question. You only have him here because you think he's a liar? This isn't called liar unfinished business. This is called cheat unfinished business. So maybe they didn't know what they were signing up for. But for the most part, most of these people are here because their spouses or their significant others cheated on them, or they suspect that they did. So what? Anyways, so we do find out after kind of that, we do learn more about the other couples that they will not be living with their exes. Each there's each two sides of the table, obviously. So each group of people on the one side of the table is going to be in those respective villas. So, for example, on the left side of the table, they're going to be in Rose or Rosa, and then the other one is going to be in Azul. So, okay, can we talk about the names of the villas? Rosa or Rose, whatever it was, fine, totally understand. Azul, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like a name of the demon in Ghostbusters. Azul. That's what it sounds like. So we're gonna see the Marshmallow Man. What's his name? The Puff, the Puff, Mr. Puff, Puff Doughboy, Puff. What was his name? It doesn't matter. Anyways, so the thing though with them being in separate villas with other people is it's not going to be men and women. It's co-ed. So there is obviously going to be this potential for maybe other relationships to form in the separate homes. This is going to be interesting. So we learned a little bit more about Steph and Andre after this. So she found messages of him talking to another woman. They have not seen each other for 2 years. We do kind of get a little bit more of elaboration on that. But he says that she doesn't know that I physically cheated. So we're then under the impression, which is very possible, that she only knows that there was maybe some emotional cheating, messages back and forth, but she does not know that he physically actually had sex with this woman that he ended up talking to. So more on that later. So here's the other thing. Not only are these people who are complete strangers and we have co-ed situations, not only are they living in separate villas with men and women, but the men and women in each villa are sleeping in the same room. That doesn't seem like a good idea. I feel like we're playing with fire, is what we're doing. And I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that, honestly. I really feel comfortable sleeping in a room with other women. I would, because I need my space, I need my privacy. So, anyway, the next day, they're going to be coming face to face with their exes to hash the shit out outside of the reckoning room. The reckoning room. So, that's what they're going to be doing. So we're basically going to be going couple by couple at this point. We'll learn a little bit more about each couple. So we have Biggs and Rebecca. That's Rebecca G first. Um, they're going to be doing, because we do meet the therapist, quote unquote. His name was Paul. He's hot. I've seen him before. But anyways, they're going to be doing this face to face without him, but he's going to be observing nonetheless. So anyways, um, she asks him, "What is it you have done?" And he says that he did sleep with someone. And the thing that's sad here, and I think the thing that most of us as women, especially, tend to always think is, what did I do to cause you to cheat? When it's not as cut and dry as that, I do think that there is not responsibility, but there there can be something. Now, that's not always the case. Sometimes men are dogs, but sometimes there are, everyone plays a role, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But again, that's not all cases. But what's sad though is that she does say, like, did I do something? Did I do something that caused you to cheat on me? And it's like, no, because again, even if there is a quote unquote reason that someone feels they need to cheat or whatever, it doesn't give you a reason to cheat. If you're unhappy in your relationship, there's the door. That doesn't give you a pass to then cheat. So she then asks at that point, like, okay, so then was it something about you? Like, did you need something that, like, I guess maybe she wasn't giving him or whatever? And he says there was no reason, it just happened. And honestly, I don't know what is worse. If there is a reason, or if there isn't a reason, it just happened. I don't know what's worse, honestly. It all feels pretty bad, to be totally honest. Um, he's like, I don't know why I did it. And she says, I think your nice guy thing is an act. Now, I don't know enough about him to know whether it is or it isn't. Um, but I'm sorry, but if you don't, every man comes in with this quote unquote nice guy routine. And 9 times out of 10, that nice guy routine only lasts for so long. And we all do it. We all come in with our best foot forward. And, we come in not with like a fakeness, but we just come with our best foot forward. We all do it. So is it the nice guy mentality? Maybe their way of putting their best foot forward? Because you learn quickly that stuff that they were telling us is nothing but a crock of shit. I mean, I had that with my ex. He did the nice guy routine, and within the matter of 5 months, he was cheating on me with a woman he would end up having a child with. Even my boyfriend, he came in with the nice guy routine too, a one guy kind of girl. And maybe deep down he had that capability, or that he was able to maybe do that at some point in life. But I mean, he was still in his slut era, to be totally honest. And he cheated within the first 3 weeks of me being with him. Now, we have come out of that. And the therapist, Paul, he does say that. He's like, do I think that a person can come back from being cheated on, or infidelity in the relationship, yes, and can you be stronger for it? Absolutely, and I agree with that. I'm living it, but it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of accountability, something a lot of these men do not have. So, but yeah, the main thing here is the the nice guy routine. It's a facade, and if you think that's real, I don't know, man, then you're more trusting than I'd ever would be. Maybe I'm just cold, but I know when my boyfriend was telling me I'm a one guy kind of, the fact that you have to tell me that means you're not. The fact that you have to tell me that means maybe you want to be, but like you maybe not. I don't think you've ever been. So it's all an act. But anyways, it's an act initially. It's actually something you have to put your work into. Some men can do it, some men don't want to. So, anyways, so to the it's a facade or it's an act. He says no, it's not an act, and she does ask him, and it's honestly a question that I understand why we ask the question. But it's a stupid question because it's a question we already know the answer to. I would never have asked, like, again, I mean, it's hard to talk about a show about cheating and not put your own thing in there. I would never have asked like my ex, would you have told me? No, he wouldn't have told me. I know he wouldn't have told me. The only way I know that he ever did it because I caught him. I found out. By his own stupidity, but I found out. But I'm not going to say, would you have told me? No, because you didn't tell me. I found out by accident. Just like when I found out that he was having a child with somebody, I didn't say, would you have told me? No, I know maybe he would have told me, I don't know, after the baby was born. But with a month or so left before she gave birth, you wouldn't have told me. You had no intentions of telling me. Because if you had intentions of telling me, you would have told me before someone else did. So it's an understandable question, but it's a stupid question because it's a question we all know the answer to. But she asks him nonetheless, if we never split up, would you have told me or not? And it's complete silence. Silence is the answer. However, we already knew the answer. But he says, truthfully, I wouldn't have told you. Duh. Why? Again, a man is having his cake and eating it too. He's having the best of both worlds, just like Hannah Montana intended. And why would he take off the Hannah Montana costume just to be Miley Cyrus? I mean, either way, it's fine, but I'm just trying to say, why would he do that? He's going to lie, 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 deny, 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 pretend, pretend, pretend that he is faithful to you until he can't pretend anymore. He's never going to tell you the truth. Anyways, um, our therapist says we're seeing that Biggs is not emotionally mature. Agreed. And that's the thing too. I'm like, what are we fighting for? Because I don't get it. Is it because he's black? I don't, because, spoiler alert, Rebecca G is white and he's black. But it's like, is that what it's about? Because, like, there are so many black men in the sea that you can find someone else who at least is mature emotionally. This man ain't it. She walks out, and I swear I heard him ask for a hug while she did. And this is the other thing. If you're about to tell me that you have been unfaithful, the last thing I want you to do is put your hands on me. Don't fucking touch me. And that's the thing that my ex did too. He's it wasn't so much about, he didn't ask for a touch or anything. Oh no, he probably did. I just don't really remember. But I do vaguely remember him asking for like a hug or a kiss or something. Or no, it wasn't that. It was text me when you get home. Now it's the middle of the day, mind you, okay? But text me when you get home. Now, do I understand him saying it because wasn't a normal thing for him to say that to me? No, I don't think it's crazy for him to say that. He pissed me off. He made me upset, and now I have to drive back home. So yeah, I get that. But I didn't say, "Yes, I'll text you," or I didn't even say a word to him. I scoffed. It's like, "Okay." Like, my brain, why do you give a shit whether I get home safe? Why? Because you just broke my heart. So what does it matter if I get home safe? Why do you care? Now, is that an irrational thought? Absolutely. Of course, I know he would care if I were to get hurt. Just like I would have cared no matter how pissed off I was at him in the moment, I would have cared if he got hurt. So yes, it's not crazy, but in that moment you're like, why do you give a shit? Why do you care how you hurt me? You are the cause for it. Why do you care? So I totally understand, like, don't ask me for a hug. I don't want you to touch me. You've done enough. Like, I totally get that. So we move on from them and we go to Steph and Andre. So when she saw the message, so this is the one where she saw the messages and she just, they haven't seen each other for 2 years. We get a little bit more on that. So she said when she saw the messages on his phone, she just left. She had no explanation for him. She was just gone within 24 hours, which is confusing. And here's the thing. I don't agree with that way of thinking. I don't. If you're in a relationship with somebody and you've been in this relationship for more than a couple months and you break up, the person for whom you're breaking up with deserves an explanation. Even if he is fucking around and wanted to find out, he still deserves an explanation. Don't run away. She ran away. Whether she doesn't like confrontation or whatever, but then if you can't handle confrontation, don't look through his phone. Don't go looking for something, and then if you can't handle what you see, you need to be able to confront. Because hell no. If I was her and I saw text messages on my man's phone like that, the fuck is going on? I'm going to have so many words that he's not going to be able to keep up. This is sorry. When I knew, well, not so much knew, when I suspected, because I have to admit, I never expected my boyfriend was cheating on me. That was a shock to me. But with my ex, I knew he was cheating. I knew it. It felt into my bones. I didn't have the proof. But if I did find proof differently, you know, then I would have gone to him and I would have been like, what the hell is this? I didn't run away from the situation when I found out he was cheating. I didn't run. I confronted his ass and I wanted I want all my questions answered. I needed all that information. I needed it because I deserve it. You cheated. I deserve to know what the fuck is going on, you know? You don't run away. And when I break up with your ass, you best believe you're going to have an explanation. You're going to have not so much closure, but you're going to wish the only thing I gave you was an explanation. I want to rip you a new asshole by the time I'm done with you. I'm not going to run. Hell no. So I don't agree with her on that. Now, was she correct in her thought process? Absolutely. But you do not run away from a situation. You need to put all that shit out there. He deserves it. You deserve it as well. Because then she's left in this limbo of, well, did I overreact? Was it actually something going on physically speaking? Obviously, there was these messages and that sucks, but did he actually physically cheat? Because everyone's idea of cheating is different. Everyone's threshold of cheating is different. So, you know, maybe in her mind, she's thinking, did I run away from a relationship maybe when he wasn't cheating on me? You're always going to have that what if. Now, if you just confronted the situation, got all your shit out there in the open, then maybe you could have had your closure and we wouldn't be here with you right now. Then again, maybe he would have lied. We don't know. but you can't run away from the situation. So anyways, that's what happened. Um, so once they're now together doing their little, you know, hash out, she asks, "Can you explain the messages on your phone?" And he says, they weren't the best. No shit, Sherlock. And she asks, like, "Did you guys have sex?" Now, here's the thing. We've been talking to him throughout, or he's been talking to us, I should say, throughout, saying that he did cheat on her physically, and he does want to confront that and have that conversation with her. So you're thinking, when she asks this question, he kind of had this look on his face that he was going to continue the lie. But don't fret, because he does say that there was sexual relations. He did have sexual relations with that woman. So she asks, "How many times?" And he's like, "A few." And she's like, "Well, how much is a few?" Like, she wants details. And he says 3 times. And then we get into how I can blame you for my decisions. He says, "Well, I felt neglected by you. I wasn't getting attention from you. So what do? I'm going to go get validation and attention from this other woman who you, I guess, don't really want to be with. The attention she's going to give you is fleeting. It don't mean shit, because any person can bend over and take a dick, but can every person not only bend over and take your dick, but also hold you down in times when it matters the most? No. Nor do you want that from every person. Listen, I could think of all the men that I have had quote unquote sexual relations with. Could I have seen a relationship with all of those people? Absolutely not. Because any person can have sex, but a relationship is different. And so the attention you're seeking then is sexual, which doesn't mean anything. Then what was the point? If you're getting, because like it doesn't do anything, is what I'm trying to say. I hate when men say this shit, because you're in a relationship with somebody. This person's supposed to be, you know, your ride or die in a sense, quote unquote. And you're going and getting attention from somebody, sexually speaking. How does that solve your problem? I hate it. It drives me nuts because it doesn't make any fucking sense. So she says, "So that's just like your justification. You're just trying to justify your reasons for cheating on me." She says, "I trusted you." She's crying at this point. And he says, "Can I hug you?" Here we go again. Men, PSA. PS fucking A. When a woman is hurt because of you, and she's crying because of you and your fucking actions, then don't ask her, "Can I give you a hug?" Let me say this right now. The last thing we want you to do is put your nasty ass hands on me. Get the fuck away from me. Step the fuck off. Don't touch me. Because if you touch me, I'm throwing hands. I don't want you touching me, and nor do you want me throwing hands. So how about we just keep our hands to ourselves? Stop asking these fucking questions. I'm so mad, I'm heated. Stop asking these questions. We don't want that affection from you, because your affection, we can't trust it anymore. Because when you showed us affection, you are also showing some form of affection to another woman. We can't trust that anymore. Do not touch me. Stop it. Stop asking that question. So she says as much, "Don't touch me." But she does let him hold her hand, which I'm like, "You're good, because hell no are you holding my hand. Don't look at me. Don't touch me. Don't, nothing. Just don't. I need a minute, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes, maybe more, to not have you make it." Because the thing is, is that you think your touch is gonna make it better. Here's the deal. In the moment, we think it is. But as a person who's been there and done that, and yes, I am with the person that I went through that with, but I made him work for it. When time came and we said we're doing this, it wasn't an easy thing for him. It wasn't like it was easy. It wasn't. It wasn't easy for us. But initially, you think it feels good to have your touch in any form, but then your touch can turn into other things. And that's no longer, again, that's another thing we can't trust. Because now, not only can I not trust you, I can't trust me. Because if I can so easily have sex with you, potentially, I'm not going far, but that touch can lead to other things. If I can go as far as to do that, after knowing everything you did to me, what does it say about me? And again, I'm not being holier than thou because I've been there and I've done that. I've let him touch me and then some. And then I'm confused. That's not fair to me. That's not fair to him. So I personally wouldn't have even held his hand. But anyways, um, he says, I never stopped loving you. And she says, yeah, I'm going to head off now because she doesn't believe him. And I don't blame her. I wouldn't believe him. So then we move on. We have Kieran and Amberly. She says that he didn't come home one night. And he said that he ran into some randoms and got a hotel room with them, but that nothing had happened. Bullshit. Bullshit. You really want people to believe that you went and ran into some people, got a hotel room with those random people, and then we find out he sleeps in the bed with those people and nothing happened? Absolutely fucking not. That didn't happen. That's not true. You're lying. But she doesn't believe him either. And he explains he got the numbers of these women on this boat that he went on. I don't think this is the Ibiza guy, but yeah, he went on some boat. He got their numbers, whatever. And again, he says nothing happened, though he just slept in the bed with them. That is incorrect. If my man slept in a bed with somebody who wasn't me, we got problems. That is cheating. But she says he didn't come home until 4 p.m., like the next day. So what were you doing all that time? Good question. Especially if um, checkouts like at noon. Like, what were you doing? But he says, okay, let's cut the bullshit because you were with your ex or something. This is the one we find out like she's up with her ex potentially. She claims that she didn't have sex with anyone until the very end when they were pretty much done. Now, here's the thing. This is the thing. This is why I'm saying there's potentially infidelity on both parts. Because she says here that she didn't cheat on him or have sex with anyone until at the very end of their relationship and they were pretty much done. But you didn't say you were done. You said you were pretty much done. But then later, spoiler alert, she will say, we were done when I had sex with somebody else. Which is it? Because now that's inconsistent. Which is it? I don't believe either of them, to be totally honest with you. But we'll get to that a little bit more. Um, yeah, then she walks away at that point, and that's the end of their conversation. We move on to Tegan and Sean, and Tegan says that this girl on socials went to every one of them imaginable. She went to Facebook, she went to Instagram, she went to Snapchat, she went to Twitter, she went to Tumblr, she went to Blue Sky, she went to everything imaginable. Okay, to tell her that he slept with she slept with this woman and claimed that she was his ex. So basically, maybe this makes sense. This woman went to Tegan to tell Tegan, your man slept with me, and he ended up telling me that you were his ex. and that he just hadn't had time to take down the pictures and stuff. So he claims they met in the club, but nothing happened at that point. Then she found him somehow and they kissed. Like, the timeline's a little weird for me. So then when they kissed, um, he said, I was going to get a cab. And she said, can I come? So you said, sure, sure, come on along. What the fuck? Anyways, so she does. Then when he goes to his house, she comes in with him. Then when he goes upstairs, she comes with him. And then one thing leads to the next, and they have sex, apparently. So as Tegan says, she's like, okay, it's okay. So let me make this make sense. She goes through the whole thing. Okay, cool. So you had 5 opportunities to back out of cheating on me, but you didn't. You still did. Fair point. The next morning, the girl asked him, so here's the thing, girl who had sex with him, you don't ask the after you have sex with him whether or not he has a girlfriend. If you really care about that, you're gonna ask before. You didn't give a fuck. Honestly, I'm questioning whether or not she even asked the question, to be totally honest with you, but because like I feel like the question you ask after, then again, who knows? But he said no. Nonetheless, he said, "No, I do not have a girlfriend." And she said after all of that, she went back to him, which again, I'm not gonna judge because, I've done that. But she ended up breaking it off because people were saying to her that she had changed. We do get a little bit more on this a little later. And she said, I lived for you, which don't ever live for him because he ain't living for you. Never do that. And he says, I want to work this out. Okay. Anyway, we move on from them and we go to Liam and Olivia. So they started dating when she was 18 years old. I think they were both around the same age. They've been together for a decade. And he says, I cheated, but it was only a kiss. Bullshit. That's not true. But she says, I recently found out that he had cheated again. And the girl confronted her about it. And he doesn't know that she knows there was potential for more cheating. She says, let's talk about when you cheated. So he's thinking that she wants to talk about when he cheated in the beginning of the relationship. So he says, you can't keep punishing me for that. Your jealousy, I mean, that's a lot. And she says, well, you would do things with your female friends and not do shit with me. Pardon? First of all, if you have, listen, I don't have an issue with my man having female friends, but if you have female friends to the point where you're whining and dining them and not whining and dining me, the fuck you say? That's no. Mm-mm-mm. Girl, you gotta love yourself. Mm-mm. That's not gonna happen with me. And she's like, I wouldn't even be invited. Pardon? So you're gonna go and wine and dine your female friends and then your girlfriend's not even invited? Mm-mm. Smell a rat. None of this, no. And shame on them. Unless there's more to this than we don't know. Mm-mm. None of this sounds right. I don't fucking think so. Um, she then says, was that like the only time you cheated? And it's like, of course it was. Bullshit. She's like, oh, let's try that again. I'll probably try that again. And he says, I didn't cheat on you again. She then pulls out a picture of the girl and says, well, do you know this girl? And that's where we end episode 1. I talked a lot about episode 1. This is gonna be a long episode, guys. But hey, it's fine. Let's move on to episode 2. So we, of course, leave off with, Olivia and Liam, and he says, no, like, I don't know who she is. Bullshit. He's lying. When we see his face, he is sweating buckets in his eyeballs. Nope. He's lying. He says, I don't know her. And she says, please be honest. This is the only way that we can move forward. And then he wants to be again, woe is me. He's like, well, that's bullshit. People are always going to talk shit. So he's basically trying to say, People are talking about me, saying I'm cheating on you, but that's not true. Why do you think you're so important that people are going to say that you cheated on your girlfriend? Why? Why do you think you're that important? That's what I'm trying to get at. Like, what? And he says, I only love you. Sure. And she says, but we haven't even made steps to the future, towards the future. And he says, I'm like, why do you think that is? And blah, blah, blah. Like, he's being rude. But he says, I'm willing to put a ring on that finger. But if you don't want to move forward, like, let me know and I'll go. Then, sir, why the fuck are you here? Again, the show is called Cheat Unfinished Business. You're here because you cheated. So how about we just fess the fuck up about everything that we've done? Instead of making ultimatums. And he's like, I'm sick of this bullshit. And our therapist, Paul, says he just did a dangerous trifecta: deny, deflect, and minimize her feelings, all in the space of 10 seconds. Seriously. But we're done with them. We move on to Jazz and Craig. Now, this is an interesting take on the cheat unfinished business because I'm going to have some thoughts and feelings once we run through them. So they got together for about 9 months. He ended up telling her that he was still in a relationship with his child's mother. And he says that was the beginning of the end. No shit, Sherlock. First of all, um, she asked, like, why did you take my number if you were in a relationship? Fair question to ask. And he said, like, I thought you were beautiful. And you can think I'm beautiful, but doesn't mean it gives you the right to cheat. He's like, I wanted to get to know you. He's like, I wasn't happy in my relationship. Pause. What will stop him from being unhappy in the relationship he has with you? And what is stopping him from finding another Jazz who he can, you know, have this type of relationship with? Just saying. Anyways, he's like, it was the right person at the wrong time. And he said, I tried to tell you the truth. When? Again, another doozy. When you have something to say, telling me I tried to tell you the truth isn't good enough. Because it's not that hard to say what you need to say and say, yeah, so this was what was going on. It's not that difficult. I tried to tell you the truth. Get out of here. Um, so she said, no, you told me you were living with her, but not that you guys were together. I believe he definitely said that. It's like, or she said, I thought I was a girlfriend and I was the side chick. That's what makes it so interesting. She is a side chick. She was not a girlfriend. And I mean, I think she seems nice enough that she wouldn't have chosen to be in a relationship with somebody who was in a relationship with somebody else. I do believe that. But then my question to her is, but then why are you here now? Because this man's proven to you he isn't truthful. And sure, do I think he maybe has strong feelings for her and actually does believe she was the right person at the wrong time? Yeah, I do. But that doesn't change the fact that he did it. That doesn't change the fact that he could do it to you. So, like, while he's with you, you know, whatever, he's still playing house with his girlfriend. And my question to her too is, did did you know he had a child? Did you meet his child? Meanwhile, he's still living with her? I don't know, man. He says, do you still love me? It feels like a manipulative question to ask, but I don't think he's a bad guy. But I think like it is very manipulative to ask this question because, again, it's very similar to the same energy of you already know the answer to that question. Otherwise, you wouldn't ask the question. Um, but anyways, she says, of course I do. And he says, if I'm given another chance, it will then be the right person at the exact right time. He's he's suave, that's for sure. But anyways, that's them. We then move on to Rebecca C. and Dan. And he says, so we found out this is the Ibiza guy. So he was in Ibiza and he was dancing with these girls and all that, but he doesn't classify that as cheating. Now, I also wouldn't classify that as cheating necessarily, but if like the dancing leads to other things, then yes, that is cheating. Um, it's like you didn't kiss anyone. And she says, but that is cheating because you were being dishonest. No, it's not. No, it's not. Dishonesty and cheating are two different things. You can be dishonest without cheating. You can't really be, you can't have cheating without dishonesty, but you can have dishonesty without cheating. So I don't agree with that part, but I'm sure. I can't remember if there's more to know about here, but we'll get to it. He says, I felt like I wasn't appreciated. Another one blaming the women for the reason for their shortcomings. But anyways, he says that wasn't feeling appreciated. She says, you didn't do nice things for me. You didn't take me out. And he's like, well, what funds? And she's like, well, how about the funds you use in Ibiza? Mic drop. Mic drop. Meanwhile, the whole group can hear this conversation between Rebecca C. and Dan. Next, we have, I think it's Lucia. I know it's Lucia, but anyways, Lucia and Connor. He says, I went out and I picked up a girl, and he definitely had sex with this girl. The next morning, when Lucia came over, she was still in his bed. I'm going to prison. If the woman is still in your bed, I'm going to prison because I'm killing you and I'm killing her. Mm. He basically then told this girl to hide in the attic. Girl, love yourself. Girl, love yourself. The one who was hiding in the attic, love yourself. You're really gonna go hide yourself in the attic? You don't love yourself. Anyways, she got, I guess, hides in the attic, and he's like, I almost got away with it too, as if he's in friggin' Scooby Doo. Until she found the girl's watch in his room. Stay stupid. He's like, but I'm mature now. Are you? Are you? Because I don't know. But anyways, um, but as she said, she's like, I don't buy that shit because you talk to the future and then you would go ahead and sleep with someone else and hide her in the attic. He says, honestly, the pressure was a lot. What I did was wrong. And of course, he's talking about the pressure of buying a house and all that. So he's like, it was wrong. And he asks, are you getting to know anyone else in there? And if she was, what's it to you? Last time I checked, my girl is single. So what is it? She can do whatever the hell she wants personally. But she says no. Then they hug. But he then says, kind of hope we can be like a little spoon or something like that. And it's basically feels like he's taking this as a joke. This is not for real for him. Stupid. Anyways, then each house plays this little game that night. Craziest place you had sex. Someone says Flamingo Land on the grass. That's a choice that was made. But then we see there is potentially some form of forming between Rebecca G and Craig, or at least it's on Rebecca G's side. Like, I don't know if Craig is really reciprocating that, but she's like, he's a distraction. Well, stop being distracted. We're here for a reason. This is called cheat unfinished business. Well, I guess, well, that'll make it more fun. Anyway, the next day, we find out that we are all headed to the reckoning room, and Paul is going to be there too to kind of go over everything. There, they will decide will there be unfinished business, hence the title of the episode or the show, or will you be done for good? So then we're in the reckoning room. Paul comes right out and says, I don't think we got full transparency from everyone in this room. You don't say. I said transparency. So we are going again couple by couple. So Amberly and Kieran, um, he's like, well, you said you fucked somebody else. And Biz is like, whoa, hey, cool it. Cause like, maybe have some respect for her a little bit. It's amazing how the men here can be like, hey, respect your girl. Yet you couldn't. Anyways, she says, first of all, it was after we broke up. Ma'am. hold on, that's not what you said. In his defense, you said in the face-to-face thing that it was at the very end, you guys were pretty much done. That's what you said. Now it's we were broken up, which is it. Some guy says, which is true, you went in bed with 2 girls, but nothing happened? Like, what? And he says, yes, being in bed was cheating, but like there was no sex. Don't buy it. I feel like if you're going to quote unquote cheat and be in a bed with somebody, you might as well go all the way. Like, I don't understand. But Paul is like, yes or no. No qualifications from either one of you. So we ask him first, did you cheat? And Kieran says, yes. Amberly, your turn. Did you cheat? Again, no qualification, just yes or no. And immediately she can't take instructions because she's like, by going to his house? And Paul's like, no, no, no. I said yes or no, no qualifications, which is it? And she says, yes, I have cheated on him. But I don't think she believes that. I think, I don't think she believes that because I don't think she classifies what she did as cheating, nor does he classify what he did as cheating either, really. I think we're just biting the bullet, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, Rebecca G and Biggs are next. She says, I can't even look at you. And he says, I was preparing myself because you wanted the party life and I wanted a family. And she says, like, I pushed people away. And she starts crying because she says the reason that she said people thought she was changing, um, and all that. So she was pushing people away. And he says, we have never had a serious conversation like this before. Like, he feels like he's learning some new stuff. And Paul says, well, that's interesting because yesterday wasn't that supposed to be a serious conversation? And you took it as a joke, mic drop. And Paul at that point basically asked, like, why didn't you take it seriously when you should have? And he's kind of is trying to form the words, but he doesn't seem to have the words. And Paul says, I'm sure I speak for most of the men in this room where we were told not to emote, not to feel our emotions. And with that being said, struggle to form words about how we're feeling. But Big's like, why are you here? Like, maybe that's an easier question for him. And he says, I'm here to get her back. I love you and I apologize for everything. And she's like, I don't know. Like, she doesn't know. And I think that's fair. So Lucia and Connor thinks it went well. Lucia's like, I got my why, but you asked me if I was cracking it up with anyone else here. And it's like, oh, I just wanted to know. And Paul says, we gotta deal with our insecurities. We all gotta deal with it. We all got them. He's like, you know how you deal with your insecurities? By saying stupid things. And he ends up telling Lucia, set that high bar and let his ass work for it. Don't hand him you on a silver platter. Make him, work for his meal, I guess. So that's that. Stefan Andre, he's like, I took full accountability for cheating, but when I was crying in front of you, you did nothing, is what she says. And he's like, well, didn't I ask for a hug? You want a medal? You're doing the bare minimum, sir. And she says, like, why would I want to hug you? He's like, well, for me to console you. That is no longer about her, that is about you. Everyone starts piping in saying, like, didn't you think at any time before this you should have told her that you had cheated? Now, in his defense, would have he been able to do that? Because she just took off and didn't have these conversations. But he says he tried to tell her he's been trying to get her back for about 6 months. He says, I will fall on my sword and I will say the worst mistake was cheating on you. And, I believe him, I guess. Rebecca C. and Dan, he says, after reflecting, I'm the problem. I'm the problem. It's me. I did cheat on you, and I'm sorry for everything I have done. He also says, I know I need to work on myself, and that's why I'm here. Paul says to that, that was a textbook apology. Well done. Me, I said, is it crazy that I don't buy it? No, it's not, because I'm not going to be the only one that doesn't buy it. It doesn't feel genuine. It doesn't feel right. This was the same person who was acting like a dick in the moment. Now all of a sudden it's my fault. I'm the problem. It's me. Like what? Moving on from that, Sean and Tegan, he talks over her and she says, no, like, listen, if you can't control yourself, we wouldn't be, or sorry, if you could have controlled yourself, we wouldn't be here. And Paul says, Sean, you don't have accountability in any of this. And Tegan, you're a point scorer. That's not good either in a relationship. Jazz and Craig. So he's apologized for everything. He says he wants to show her he loves her to pieces and he wants to fix things. And he's crying, and she has never seen him so emotional. He got so emotional, baby, every time he thinks of you. Liam and Olivia. So she felt like she did something wrong. He definitely made her think that way, because I feel like, did you do something? The way he's acting. She's like, you were deflecting. And he says, there you go again, accusing me of something else. How are we ever going to get ahead? And Jess says, how does he think that he's a victim? Am I crazy? How does he think that he's a victim? Like, she has the text messages. Like, what? And then at this point, he threatens to leave again. And it's like, listen, if you're going to actually leave, just leave. Don't threaten me with a good time. And she says, you gave me an ultimatum. I thought he would, like, I thought he wouldn't be here, because I thought I was going to come here and he wasn't going to be here. And Paul says, if you want to know, sorry, if you want to, oh, let me say this right. If you want to leave, basically, it's like you can walk right out right now. Like, you don't have to be here. And that's where we end up episode 2. So we've been talking for an hour. And don't worry, we're still going to do the rest of the episodes in this episode, 2, 3, and 4. But we're going to take a quick little break here. Don't worry, no ad. There's going to be a quick little transition. And when we come back, we'll hop back in with episode 3 and 4. And I'm back. So let's jump in with the next episode, which is episode 3. So we left off, well, I won't say where we left off. You know, I don't remember. We're just gonna go into it because I'm recording this a couple days later. So he says, "No, I will stay." Um, and is there truth to what she has, like with the text messages, or that he doesn't yet know about? He says it's bullshit. She doesn't believe him, though. More on that later. The group agrees that Dan's speech didn't feel genuine. Honestly, I agree. Um, at that point, I agreed. I think my view is going to change on that when we get to the next episode. But like the episode 4. But I did agree in that moment. They're saying, like Paul said, it was like a textbook apology, like too good to be true. So now we're going to be doing this thing we're calling exchange. We're just basically going to be having, people mixing up in order to talk about each other's exes, basically. There's going to be a person from each villa. So Olivia says to Rebecca G, um, that he thinks that I am basing things on the messages, but I'm not just basing things on messages. I'm basing on the fact that I actually spoke to this girl, and she said things that only a person would know if, you've had sex with them. Do I feel that? It's true when you start, like, comparing notes, it's like, okay, like, girl knows things that only a person would know if they knew you intimately. So did that hit hard? Rebecca C, though, is ready to hand Liam his ass. She asks, like, so, like, did it happen? Like, did you actually, like, just say if you did it, just say you did it. And he says, I have no clue what she's talking about. More on that later. She just wants clarification. This is what Rebecca C is saying. And he says, well, like, how long do I keep doing this? Like, how long do I keep giving her, you know, all of this clarification to the point where she just, you know, accepts it, slips his drink like he's two. And I'm just like, okay, gaslighting at its finest. This, y'all, is a definition of a gaslighter who knows he fucked up, because more on that later, but wants to push it on what you're doing wrong. Fuck this guy. Lucia tells Dan, so your apology, kind of like a lot of the guys, they think it's like not sincere. And he says, well, that's rich coming from some of these guys because some of these guys can't even be fucking honest. But they want to come at me. Cool, 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 cool. More on that also later. And then Dan tells Lucia that Connor said if he could get at anyone here, he would get with Amberly. And Dan says, well, I guess I shouldn't have said that. And she's like, the fuck? When he's like asking me if I'm cracking it with anyone here and you want to say that shit about Amberly. And Dan says, like, it's not that deep. Do I agree it's not that deep? I do agree it is not that deep. Even if he said what he said, I don't want, personally for me, that wouldn't be the end all be all for me. Cheating or no cheating. But for her, it's a big deal. She doesn't like hearing that, knowing that he questioned her. He could have been joking, but let's be very honest here. There is some truth always in joking. So I do understand where she's coming from, but I also want to hinge the potential of my relationship being reformed on that, you know? But she says it is because when he finds someone attractive, he cheats. Okay, but again, we're all here for the same purpose. The purpose is to see whether or not there is anything here in our relationships. He could say whatever the hell he wants to say, but is Amber Lee going to reciprocate that? Maybe, maybe not. But it's just not enough for me because it's not Amber Lee's problem that he is like that. But then I also have to say, if that is really how he operates and how he thinks, why are you here? Why are you here? Because that, honey, ain't going to change anytime soon, if at all. Back at the house, Rebecca G tells Liam, so, your ex met with the girl she suspects you cheated on her with, and that the girl knew things that only she would know if she has seen your sausage. The guys are like, listen, enough's enough, you imbecile. You need to just be honest with her. So Liam is like, I mean, I guess if she has things that's incriminating, then I'll own up to it. So it's that deny, deny, deny mentality that men have. It's not like he's unique in that. But the problem is, again, you are here for a purpose of trying to get back together. And when she's saying to you, I think you cheated on with somebody else, and you're saying, oh, yeah, that's full of shit. You're just looking for a blah, 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 like, and gaslighting her and making her look like she's crazy. How does that help things? whether or not she has something incriminating in the situation that you are in, or really and truly any situation that you're in, but whether it is incriminating or not, if your person's coming to you and saying, I feel like you've cheated, or not just you feel, because a person can feel and it could be completely inaccurate. But I suspect, based on things that I've heard, things that I'm seeing, that something else happened. You're gonna wait until she comes with receipts. Because by then she's pissed off because you've lied, lied, lied up until this point. That to me makes me think you're not serious about making this work with her. Bullshit. Dan then tells Connor that he told Lucia about the Amberley thing. Yikes. And he's like, I don't know why he told her that. Like, I don't know why. And I don't even think it's because he wants to hide something from her, but I think because he knows the kind of person she is, that she takes something and she blows it out of proportion. So I think because of that knowledge, he's like, I'm gonna have to I was climbing a mountain, now I'll have to climb Mount Everest. This is gonna be tough. So Lucia tells Jazz what happened about, the whole Amberley thing. And she's like, it makes me think he's not here for the right reason. And Jazz tells her, don't overthink, think things, but he told me you guys haven't seen each other for 5 years and that he's a different person. Okay. So Lucia's like, I'm sorry, what now? 5 years? The fuck? She's like, I was at his bed a month ago. You're not going to act like you don't know me when you had no issues a month ago. And her words, and I quote, shut up. You literally had your dick inside of me a month ago. Classic. She says she's done and she wants to go home because, if you're going to pretend like something didn't happen, why am I here then? Amberly asks Big, so, have you talked to other people? Because we're still not doing the exchange. And he says, oh, a couple texts here and there, no big deal. And Amberly's like, with intention? He's like, no, 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 yeah, but no, yeah, but no, no, yep, but he's lying, y'all. The thing is that men need to realize is when you have this look on your face like you're about to throw up, we know you're lying, okay? When your face has turned green, we know you're lying. When Jim Carrey is in competition and he loses by how green he looks, we know you're lying. Like, what the fuck? Why bother lie? Amber Lee talks to Rebecca G about these messages here and there that Big says he's had. And then he was trying to kind of brush it under the rug. But Rebecca asks, who? Who is this person? Is it the same person? Amber Lee doesn't think it's the same person, but says, I do think that this was during the relationship. And she says, I feel like I'm done before we have even started. So some of the couples are going to be doing couple sessions with Paul because yikes. So Lucia and Connor, they're up first. And Paul says, I think you guys will be friends. I don't know if you guys will be romantically involved. And Lucia brings up the 5 year thing, the fact that we haven't seen each other in 5 years. Um, and we only had sex a month ago. And he says, no, like I said, we haven't been together for 5 years. That's not what I heard. I literally heard him say that I haven't seen her in 5 years and that I'm a different person now. That's what I heard him say. Just saying. Anyways, as for the comment about Amber Lee, he says it was just a game, which I do agree with. I think she's blowing that part out of proportion. They say they are each other's first love. And Paul's like, but are you each other's only love? And he says no, that he has been with somebody else that he does classify as love. And he's like, about the sex for him, he says, the sex has always been good, but it didn't feel the same like that. And we all know it. If you do the backslide and you do the backslide a little bit later, what you may have felt when together is not necessarily what you're going to feel when you are no longer together. It's different. But for her, it did feel the same. And that's the problem. She feels like he just sees her for sex. But honey, you let him only see you for sex. Because here's my thing. And I don't want to judge her. I don't. Because I don't care. You want to have sex, have sex. It's fun. We can all do it. But when it comes to an ex you also claim cheated on you, can't complain that all he sees you is for sex when you're letting him only see you for that reason. This is a person like, okay, if you're going to have sex with him, fine. But it's like, is this a one time thing in the last 5 years? Has this happened before? Would this have happened going forward? You're not giving him a reason to fight for you because you're giving him everything he wants. So, of course, he's not going to see things any differently. He's getting everything. So, you can't complain about it. Like, only complain about it when you're not sleeping with him and you see some sort of, you're trying to fight for something to happen and he's not actually putting in that fight. Then you can't complain. But like, you can't complain now. Paul's gonna get into it. Don't you worry. Um, Paul says, this tells me that you don't see a spark and that you're searching for the spark. You can't search for the spark is there, you know? If you are a hell yeah, it's a hell yeah. But if it's a hell no, well, and he says, she has always been there for me. Like when my grandma died. And Paul says, my wife was like that when my grandpa died. That's when I knew that she was the one. But everyone's journey with something like that is going to be different, right? Anyways, we then move on to Liam and Olivia. And Olivia says, I spoke to this girl. Be honest with me. And what does this fucker say now? He says, I am guilty. When yesterday you're like, I'm going to give you an ultimatum. Either you're going to get over it, I'm just going to leave. Fuck out of here. In his confessional, he says, it was a drunken night and I didn't even know I did it. Oh, God. Oh, there goes my penis in your vagina. I didn't know. I didn't know that was going to happen. I am so sorry. I didn't know. It's not coming out, though. Not really. Like, I didn't know. The fuck are you even saying to me right now? And Paul says, why do you remember now? Because he's full of shit. But he says, I was trying to ignore it happened. And Paul says, are you trying to tell me you forgot you cheated? And this motherfucker is like, you know what, Paul? That is a great, great observation. I think, yeah. I think get the hell off my screen. You really can't expect me to think you forgot you cheated, especially when this girl is coming at you and saying, I suspect you cheated, and here's why. And you really are going to sit here and be like, I just forgot. If bullshit had a picture beside it in a dictionary, this guy is it. Anyway, Paul then gets deep here and says, all he does is it keeps breaking off a crumb. And you say, thank you, sir. Can I have some more crumbs be broken off my bread? He's like, why would he give you more bread when clearly a crumb's enough? This hit hard. This was like, whoa. Like, seriously. Olivia says, is a crumb enough for you? And that was the end of episode 3. Episode 4, she says, or I think Paul says, is a crumb enough for you? And she says, no, I deserve the whole loaf. God, I deserve not even just the whole loaf. Give me the loaf. Give me the flour. Give me the, what else do you have to use to make bread? Give me all of it. Give me everything. So, what do we need to do to make this better? She says, set boundaries, but Paul gets candid here and says, I think this takes a little bit more than just setting boundaries. This is about self love. And he says, I do worry you don't put yourself first, and I want you to put yourself first. And she says, I need time to think about this. I think she needs to get away from this motherfucker in order to get to think this through, really. Anyways, Olivia goes back to the house and says, well, he admitted to it after he lied. But anyways, he tells everyone, well, I admitted it after he lied. And Jazz says, let's not forget day one that this guy gave you an ultimatum and all along, he knew he slept with that girl. Oh, Jazz, girl, you're so wrong. He didn't. He didn't know all along. He forgot it. Shit. Just give this guy a break, man. No. Everyone is loving Craig. They think he is so cute, that he's, all that. Personally, Craig is going to be on my shit list. I do think he's hot, trust me, but he's about to be on my shit list. Anyways, tonight we have a reckoning in the reckoning room. So we head on to that and we start with the exchanges, which kind of lead to the couples and all that. Dan is like, I want to see hands. Everyone raise your hands of who thinks I was not sincere in my apology. And the guys are like, the fact that you did a 180, it felt a little bit rehearsed. And he said, Rebecca knows I don't express myself, so I took this time to do so. Maybe, you know what? I hear him. I understand that now. Yes, did I think it felt very rehearsed? Maybe. But maybe not so much rehearsed, but maybe just planned. And is that a bad thing? I don't think so. But Paul says, I think from this time on, let's not focus on what others have to say. Boom. Steph and Andre are doing good and are going in the right direction. We don't need to worry about them right now. We move on to Connor and Lucia. He's like, or she says, like, you played down seeing me. And he says, I wanted to say I wanted to make this work, but I also think we need to forget the past. We won't get anywhere. I do agree. And she says, I did get my why on the cheating, so that's in the past. Karen and Amber Lee, they are both feeling positive. They seem better. She's looking towards the future. Nothing more to say. Rebecca G and Biggs, she's still struggling. She's like, but you can't keep making baby steps when she's willing to leave. It's true. And he believes they can get through this. I don't. He says that he loves her. Sure, Jan. Let's move on. Craig and Joss, at least at this particular point in time, like, they're going to be fine. And they're going to be fine. And I actually wrote, I think, before I knew where this was about to head. Sean and Tegan, she feels like she is a million steps behind everyone else. Don't worry about where everyone else is. Worry about where you are. But she feels like him saying what he said isn't genuine. Jazz says, I'm so frustrated with Sean because he will say the sweetest things to me, but he doesn't say those things to you. He loves you to bits. And I do believe he does. I think maybe he does struggle with communicating. And she says, I don't doubt that. And then Paul says, I don't even think you like him. Damn, Paul. I do understand where he's coming from, though. But she says she does like him, so who am I? Girls love sugar. Who am I? Make love to a fella in a rush. Pass me the keys to my trucks. Okay. Um, she's like, I wouldn't be here. But she also doesn't know who he is now. So you have to be, and I totally get that. You have to let him in. The only way that's going to happen is if you let some things go. Olivia and Liam. So I did sleep with someone else about 3 years ago. Oh, you see, you remember now? You remember now? He's like, I thought it didn't hold weight, but it did. The fuck you say? Whether you thought it did or it didn't, you still did it, and you over here claiming, I forgot. Like, you know what I mean? Jazz gets involved here, And when she does, this is when Craig is swiftly on my shit list. He says to her, worry about our relationship. Stop worrying about other people's relationships. And he's like, I just didn't know the details. He's like, how when you were there or weren't there? And what's gross is like Craig is like, stop jumping in all the time. Like he really truly is trying to control her. Here's the thing. And Josh says it later. You know the woman you're trying to get back with. It's not like you don't know her. It's not like you don't know if she's a vocal person. She stands up for the people she cares for or people she believes deserve more. If this is her personality and this is who she is, she's always been this way. This should not be a shock to you. And the fact that you're actually over here trying to control her and muzzle her, I don't know, man. I don't think this is right for her. I don't know if this is right for anybody. Because you can't be out here trying to control women and telling us what we can and cannot do, saying that we have to control ourselves, don't get in other people's business. I do agree you shouldn't get in other people's business, but when it is someone I care for, you best believe I'm gonna fuck you up. And I've been there and I've done that. I have told the story before with Letitia and her ex, and I for him, came for him. You're not going to disrespect my friend and think I'm going to sit there and say nothing. You know what I mean? And the thing is, my ex was there when I was cussing this man out saying, you want to fight me? I'm right here. Here's the address. Come for me. Like right there. And my ex didn't say a damn thing to me saying, stop it or calm down or don't get involved because you're not going to control who I am. And he knew that to a degree, you know. But he knows I'm going to stand up for what I believe in. But boyfriend, same thing. If I was ever in a situation like that, same thing. He's not going to try and muzzle me or tell me that I can't support someone I care for. That's not how this shit works. So the fact that this man is actually really trying to do that, don't like him. No, you don't pass a smell test. So, um, he admits, I lied and I hope you can forgive me. And Olivia says, if we get back together, will you make me a priority? If you have to ask him if he will make you a priority, means he won't. You shouldn't have to ask for that. That is basic expectations. If he can't give you that, then fuck off with him. He says, I will do what I need to do. Wrong answer. Wrong fucking answer. The answer that you're seeking, my guy, is abso-fucking-lutely I will. And I should have been doing it before. That's the answer. There's nothing else that's even remotely acceptable. And she's like, okay, but will you make me a priority? And he says, yes, sure, sure, sure. So starting tomorrow, we are starting with group sessions. And Craig says when they get back to the house that he's mad about Jazz getting involved and wanting an apology from her. The fuck you say? The only apology you're going to get is I'm sorry that I didn't put my foot up far enough up your ass. Anyways, the group gets involved saying Jazz keeps getting involved in things. And Greg is like, it makes us look bad. Like, I can't allow her to do that. I'm sorry, what? I can't allow her to do that. Listen, my guy, you think you can tell us well, you're not going to allow me to do? You know what I'm not going to allow you to do? I'm not going to allow you to believe that you control me. I'm not going to allow you to think that what you have to do is allow me to do anything. You can take your allow and take that and shove it up your ass. I hate him now. He was so cute and then just down the drain. At the other house, some of the guys say, listen, what Craig did, I would never do that in front of my people. You want to know why? Because your girlfriends would castrate you. That's why. And she says, it makes him look stupid. And it does make him look stupid. If that's what you want, then you are with the wrong person. Personally, for me, it's about the optics. Because he says as much to Rebecca G. that that it makes him look bad, that he has to live with these people and all this. That's what you care about more? And I understand that because my boyfriend will say to me, "Oh, don't cuss me out in front of my friends," because he's the one look embarrassed in front of his friends. I understand and I'll take that into consideration, but best believe if you piss me off, you think I'm gonna hold on to that? I'm gonna say, "Excuse me, 1 second," and I'm gonna deal with what I need to deal with. Whether your friends hear it or not, it's not my problem. Because at the end of the day, this relationship and making sure I don't blow up in your face later on is what's important. Thank you. Anyways, um, but when he's talking to Rebecca G, she's like, "Well, if things don't work out, I'm here. This is not what we're here for." It is interesting to watch though. And you can kind of see that he is really looking really hard at maybe Rebecca G being an option. And I hate it here. So we have this group thing with all of them, and Cricket and Jazz are first. And Paul says, like, you didn't even acknowledge each other. You're both very prideful. Uh-huh. Especially him. Your pride is going to be the death of this relationship. Hmm. Write down what you love about each other. So he says she loves her humor. And she's actually shocked by that. She's shocked that he actually likes her humor. And he's like, smile. It lights up her right up, or lights up, she lights up a room. Sorry. She then says that she says a lot of other things, but the one thing she says that was funny is APAC. But they can laugh about it, and it's in the right direction for that, but I'm still not about it. When Lucia and Connor are up, she asks, "Do you still love me?" And he says, "I have love for you. That is the kiss of death, but I am not in love with you." Oof. Paul says, "To be clear, you're saying you care for her, but you are not like in love with her." And he says, "Yes, that is precisely what he's saying." And he's like, "Tell her that." And Paul says, basically, there is physical attraction, but there's nothing else, which yeah, that's not good. Rebecca G and Biggs go up. She says, like, "I feel very uncomfortable." She's struggling to get past everything. Holding his hands is uncomfortable for her. Like, she's barely looking at him even. And Paul says, "Some people can't get past some things. And maybe that's you too." And she says, "I'm done with this exercise. Can I be done with this exercise?" And when she goes back to sit beside Craig, he tells her, "Try to give it a chance." And she's like, "No, I can't. I'm done with this. I'm raging now." Here's the thing, and I don't know if anyone will agree with this, but to me, and I know because I'm like this, when we check out of situations, I'm just be curious to know what her sign is. When we check out of situations, we are done. We don't want to backpedal. We don't want to go back. There's nothing that can change to change our minds. Once we are done, we are done. And this is what I think she's at. But here's the other part of it. When we are done, also due to someone else opening up our eyes and how much better it can be on the other side, it is even tougher to come back from that. I do want to know her sign. I'll check that out after because we're almost done here. Then all of a sudden, the blue side kind of goes into their villa and they realize, hey guys, the walls down in the bedroom. They have been right beside each other the whole time, the whole time, the whole time they've been inside the same freaking house, not realizing that they have been literally sleeping right beside each other. The villa has now become one big, messy ass villa. And that is where we end the episode. So I am checking right now because I'm curious. Rebecca G cheated Zodiac. I hope I don't get any spoilers with this, though. Because I do not want to be, Rebecca G cheated. No, that's what I'm asking. Birthday? Maybe I can get her birthday. That might be better. Birthday? She had a birthday query. Like, I don't care about that. Like, I'm literally passing things that's gonna spoil it, but she's an Aries. Okay. Yeah. Aries can be like that as well. It's not even at all surprising. But anyways, that is that, everybody. That is that episode. So we will be doing the second episode, which will be I think it's only 4, maybe 5, I can't remember, remaining episodes. And we'll get more into that. But that is it for me, guys. That is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.